So first up, we have Kansas State versus Iowa State in Dublin. This game will be playing international for some reason. Yeah, money. So Kansas State, they're coming into this game after last season. They finished 9-4 with a bowl game victory over Rutgers in the Rate Bowl, I believe. And Iowa State, they're going to be coming into this game with a record of finishing the last season with a record of 11-3. Of course, being the Big 12 runner-ups, losing to Arizona State, which was a technically a play-in game, and they won and they beat Miami in the Pop Tarts Bowl by a final score of 42-41. America's favorite bowl game. So in this game, some people are there are little rumblings that this could potentially be a Big 12 championship preview. Of course, technically every matchup in the Big 12 is a Big 12 championship preview, but you got some people who are a little bit more serious about this one. With that being said, I am hoping it's a good game because I don't want to be starving for college football for like 8 months or 7 months, and it's just a lackluster game. With that being said, I think I am going to take Kansas State to beat Iowa State. Next, we got Nebraska playing Cincinnati on a Thursday night to kick off the season. And this game is going to be a neutral site game being played at Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati, they come into this game after going 5-7 last year, so they're hoping to rebound this season. And Nebraska, they're coming into this game finishing just one game higher than Cincinnati, going 6-6. But most importantly, they made a bowl game for like the first time in I don't know what was it, 10 years, 8 years, something like that. Sometime before Scott Frost arrived there, and he had everybody hyped up over 4-win seasons. um, I think I'm gonna pick Nebraska to win this game. Maybe I don't even think it's gonna be close because I think they're favored by like a touchdown. They're favored by like 6.5. I think Nebraska could probably win this game. Maybe like a final score of 35-13, something like that. Next on Friday night, we have Baylor hosting Auburn. Auburn comes into this game after a 5-7 performance last year. They're hoping to rebound. I don't think they're going to be able to rebound from last year. I think this is probably going to be Hugh Freeze's last season with Auburn. I think maybe they can improve to like 6-6, 7-5, but I don't think they will improve to warrant Hugh Freeze to keep his job. But on the other side, I would have the same mindset with Baylor, but last year I was under the impression that Baylor was like 3-9, 4-8 last year, but they actually went 8-4. I must be blacked out because I know they were like what 2-5. Well, it can't be 2-5, but I know they were like what 2-4, maybe 1-4 at one point of the season, and I just completely stopped caring about them. Oh, okay. So with that being said, I think Auburn is favored by 2 points, so it's basically a toss up. So I think I'm gonna pick Baylor since they're the home team. Give me Baylor to win this game. Next, we have Georgia Tech traveling to Colorado to take on the Colorado Buffaloes. Georgia Tech, they sort of finished the season last year on a high note. They they beat Miami. They upset Miami towards the end of the season, and then they went to like 8 overtimes against Georgia, which a lot of people had their eyes on that game. But then they went on to lose their bowl game to Vanderbilt. So I'm kind of high on them this year. I think they could potentially make the ACC championship and probably be a CFP dark horse, but we'll find out. Colorado on the other side, they're coming into this game with not a lot of buzz. They have no Shador, they have no Travis Hunter. They're going off to the NFL. Last season they finished 9-4. They could have potentially played for a Big 12 championship, but their loss to Kansas kind of ruined everything for them. They did blow out Oklahoma State to close out that season, but then lost. Then they got blew out by BYU in the bowl game. But again, they have little to no buzz right now. This is kind of odd. They usually have people hyping them up. But with that being said, I think Georgia Tech is favored by like 4.5. I think I'm gonna go with the Vegas odds makers. I'm gonna take Georgia Tech to win this game. Next, we have a neutral site game between Syracuse and Tennessee. Syracuse, they come into this game finishing off last season with a 10-3 record. Of course, upsetting Miami to close the season and stopping them from going to the ACC championship and a potential playoff opportunity. And they also won their bowl game against Washington State. So they're riding a little momentum. Tennessee, on the other hand, they just got done. They're entering this season after getting smoked by Ohio State in the first round of the CFP last year. And on top of that, they lost Nico. Whether I believe he got dismissed from the team or he just said he just wasn't gonna play football for you guys anymore. I don't know which is which. I think it's the same thing. Anyways, there are some people who have Syracuse kind of pulling the upset. I I want to buy into it, but then again, I don't buy into it. I don't buy into that they should be 14-point underdogs. I think this game might be much closer than. I think this game is going to be much closer than that. So I will pick Tennessee to win. Next, we have the main event of the evening, or what should be the main event of the evening, but it's taking place in the morning time. We have Texas taking on Ohio State. For the first time in program history, Texas is ranked number 1 in the preseason poll. Ohio State, of course, they're coming off a national championship, finishing last year with a 14-2 record, and they're looking to reload, which I think they will reload because that's what they've done that's what they've always done since they've had Urban Meyer, and in the tenure of Ryan Day. Texas, they got a new quarterback at the helm, and people also consider that they have the best roster on paper in college football. But for Arch Manning, this will probably be I will consider this his first true start, considering his other three starts came against what a couple of G5 teams and Mississippi State, who was not very good. So I think I'm gonna pick Ohio State to win this game. It's gonna. I hope it's a good game. I hope it's not a blowout because that'll just suck to have this highly talented matchup happen at noon just for it to be a blowout. I hope it's a good game. I'm picking Ohio State to win. Next, we got Alabama, ranked number 8 in the country, traveling to Tallahassee, Florida to take on the Florida State Seminoles. Alabama, last season, they ended the season very disappointing, where they were on path to making the college football playoff and I think a potential SEC championship, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, but they met Oklahoma and Oklahoma crushed their dreams and they ended up missing the playoff. Well, missing the playoff and losing to Michigan in the bowl game. Florida State on the other side, they only won 2 games last year. A horrendous season, especially considering the year prior they got screwed out of a potential playoff game going 13-0, the first ever Power 5 team to ever miss the playoff after going undefeated. And they're looking to rebound. And most likely they are going to rebound, whether that's winning at least 3 games this year, which they should win 2 games this year. If they don't win 2 games this year, then I don't know. Well, with that being said, I think this is going to surprise you. I am going to pick Florida State to win this game. There has been a trend in college football for like the last 5 years where a top 10 team has lost to an unranked team. And I am gonna pick for that. Oh man, I can't speak. I think that trend is gonna continue. And this is the only matchup on the schedule that makes that a little bit more realistic because the other teams that are ranked in the top 10 play teams that are not power conference teams. They're not, I don't even think some are group of 5 teams. Some of them are like FCS schools. So, with that being said, I'm taking Florida State to upset Alabama. Next, we have the main event of Saturday night. and this will be the first of two meetings at Death Valley, one taking place this year and one taking place next year. This matchup between LSU versus Clemson, which will be a top 10 matchup. LSU coming in ranked number 9 in the country, and Clemson coming in ranked number 4 in the country. Clemson coming off a year last year where they finished the year 10-4, winning the ACC and then losing in a solid game against Texas in the first round of the college football playoff. LSU, they're coming off a record of 8-4 last year. They had a very tough stretch last year where they lost three in a row. So I think this game will be a. I hope it's a very entertaining game. I think I'm picking. I will pick Clemson to win this game. Next, we have a Sunday afternoon game at 3:30 between South Carolina and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech coming off last year, they finished the season 6-7, losing their bowl game to Minnesota, and South Carolina coming off a very good year last year. They finished the season 9-4. They lost to Illinois in their bowl game, but last year, pretty good year for the Gamecocks. But I will say this: this is a neutral site game. Why? Virginia Tech has a great home atmosphere. South Carolina has a great home atmosphere. And instead, we're playing this game in, I don't know where is it being played. Let's see where this game's being played. This game's being played in. They're playing this game in. Where's the location? Now I'm wasting you guys' time. They're playing this game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and this is like what, the third game taking place in that stadium. This should not be a neutral site game. This should be a game taking place in Columbia. But with that being said, I will take South Carolina to beat Virginia Tech. Next, we have Notre Dame taking on the Miami Hurricanes. This game will be taking place on Sunday night. So here it is. Notre Dame comes into this game as the national champion runner-up. They finished last year with a record of 14-2 and just couldn't get it done in a title game against Ohio State. Miami comes into this game with finishing last year with a record of 10-3. A bit of a disappointing end to the season. Their loss to Syracuse made them miss the ACC championship game and a spot in the playoff. And they ended up losing their bowl game to Iowa State. So with this game, I think I am going to take Notre Dame